After watching many reviews and examining the contents of my wallet, I decided to buy the Geekom A6 with my own money, so this is not a sponsored video. The A6 comes in a nice looking, very sturdy box and looks very much like a Mac Mini, as you can see here. Under the Mini is a small package with a abbreviated manual and a thank you card, but no money is enclosed. In the bottom of the box is a bunch of accessories. We have a package of screws, a 3-prong power cord with a Mickey Mouse end on it, a slim power brick, as you can see, it is 120 watts, 19 volts, 6.32 amps. We also have a cable, most likely an HDMI cable. Let's make sure. Yep, that's a HDMI cable. And last but not least, we have a VESA mount plate, and it has holes that measure 100 millimeter square and 75 millimeter square to accommodate the screw holes on the back of your monitor. Now let's get this thing unwrapped. Very nice looking. It has 2 USB 3 ports, an audio jack and a power button, a bunch of holes, a lot on this side of it. We'll go over those later, and a SD card slot. Very nice looking unit. Let's go ahead and plug it up. First we'll plug this into the power brick, that into the outlet. We'll go ahead and plug the barrel jack into the A6. And the HDMI into the HDMI port. And last but not least, my little receiver for my janky keyboard and mouse that's so jittery. It irritates me, but it works with everything I have. The just a moment screen lasts about 30 seconds, so we'll speed through that. Now we'll select our language, country, and keyboard layout. And no, I don't want to add another keyboard. Now we'll connect to Wi-Fi. And it's going to check for updates, and the PC is going to restart. Read the license agreement real fast, accept it, choose personal use if that's how you're going to use it, and more updates. about 36 minutes worth, so I'm fast forwarding that. Let's fast forward restarting and updates being underway, and a progress percentage, and restarting again, more percentage. I was at 100% there for about 4 or 5 minutes, but we fast forward that too. And finally we come to the welcome screen, and we're ready to finish the setup. Here we're going to unlock our Microsoft experience by putting in an email you want associated with your Microsoft account. Then you need to create a password, put in some personal information that I don't want to put in, and we'll create a PIN. For privacy, you may want to turn off everything in here except for location if you're installing on a tablet or a laptop, because Find My Device will not work without location turned on. Getting things ready. They want to customize my experience. I am going to skip that. And I don't want to use my phone. And I don't want to back up anything. Not now. And I don't want that either. I also do not want that. I don't want a Game Pass. Lots of advertisements here. And finally, we are at the desktop. And it looks pretty nice. One of the things I really appreciate about the A6 is the way that Geekom has clearly labeled the ports. This one right here and this one right here, they are both 10 speed, as you can see by the little 10. They're USB 3.2. This one, because it has this battery symbol, is also power delivery through that port. And then of course we have the audio jack and a power button. On this side we have the SD card reader, and this side gets really interesting because we have a 40 speed USB 4 port with display port. DP is display port. You can output to a monitor that supports USB display. This one is also DP, but it's 10 gigabits per second instead of the 40. This one's a plain old USB 2, and this one is a 10 speed USB 3.2 port again. And we have the Ethernet jack that's also clearly labeled 2.5 gigabits per second. The HDMI ports are not labeled 2.0, but that's what they are. They are labeled HDMI, but of course you can tell what they are just from the shape of them. Now let's go ahead and look at upgradability of the Geekom A6. I've already removed the little feet that are attached with adhesive, and I've also removed the 4 screws. And we'll swing this back and notice that the Wi-Fi Bluetooth antenna is taped to this. And I've also removed a screw there, 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 and there. And when you remove this, the Wi-Fi cable is extremely short. You'll have to put that back on. But this is what you'd have to do to be able to make a change to your NVMe drive. Let's go ahead and back out that screw too, because for one thing I have to back it out to get that antenna back on there. Underneath is your Wi-Fi Bluetooth card, and we have a space for another M.2 drive in here. Also take note that we have two 16 gigabyte SODIMM modules, and they are DDR5, so they can be upgraded, but I'm not going to do that. So that about covers the upgradability. Although this looks a lot like a Mac Mini, it is much more upgradable than a Mac Mini. To make it easier to reattach the Wi-Fi, I've taken off this black tape that held this wire onto this metal piece, so now I don't have to worry about that, and I can go ahead and reattach this. Okay, it's reattached. Now there's a little shield. Where did I put the little shield? There it is. It's a sticky back shield that kind of helps to hold those down. Put that back on there. Put this back in here and reattach that screw. Uh-oh, drop the screw in there. No. Let's dump the screw out. There it is. And try again. Now I can reattach this, but I want to thread this cable back through here where it was, right there. Then make sure you put it where the thermal pad that goes to the NVMe drive on this side. Now I can reinstall the screws. And I can put some Kapton tape there if I want to. I don't know whether I will or not. I don't think you care to see me put the screws back in, so I'll just do that off camera. I've rebooted Windows, and as much as I like the bamboo wallpaper, I decided to switch to something simpler because the icons are easier to see on this background. Anyway, let's go look at the properties of this PC. And it does show that we're running a 3.2 gigahertz Ryzen 7 6800H with Radeon graphics, and that we have 32 gigabytes of RAM installed, and that was DDR5 RAM. Scroll down here, we're running Windows 11 Pro, and it's the latest version, 24H2. And we'll go down to the activation section, and it is activated already, as we hoped it would be on a new machine. A computer is only as good as the support that it receives from its manufacturer, and looking at GeekomPC.com, they do have a nice looking support center. We can scroll down, and the A6 is one of the ones that are at the top. Otherwise you can find it here on the side, and Clicking on that link brings us to specifications, downloads, FAQ, videos, and warranty terms. The thing of interest to me here was the extra M.2 connector. It says it's a 2230. That's the wrong one. This is the one I meant to highlight. This one, it's a 2242 B-keyed. It's SATA only, not NVMe. So if you want to put in that second drive, make sure that you get a SATA M.2 drive to go in that slot. Also, if we go to their system under downloads, there we can download drivers and tools, BIOS firmware, a user manual, which is nice, and we can go to the warranty terms, and it has 3-year warranty. Besides that, there is a forum. It doesn't look terribly active, but it has also not been taken over by spammers. They've been in business since 2003, and then in 2010 they shifted to mini PCs as the main thing they were focusing on, and they went global in 2023. So they're doing pretty well for a company that's only really mainstreamed mini PCs on a global scale for about 2 years. I'm not much of a gamer, so I don't really care a lot about synthetic benchmarks, but I thought I would at least run a CPU benchmark and a GPU benchmark using Geekom 6. The CPU benchmark finished in about 5 minutes, giving us a final single-core score of 2071 and a multi-core score of 10,285. Now we'll go ahead and run the GPU benchmark. The GPU benchmark ran for about 1 minute and 20 seconds and gave us an OpenCL score of 29,382. You may be curious about the Wi-Fi speed, so let's do a speed test. I do not have gigabit Ethernet, so I can't test out even a gigabit connection, much less a 2.5 gigabit connection. Anyway, this is about as fast as it's going to get, even if I ran Ethernet. I hope you have found this video informative or helpful in deciding whether or not to buy a Geekom A6. I feel it's a good buy for most people. That brings us to the end of this review. If you like what you've seen, please consider liking and subscribing, and also please feel free to leave comments, questions, or suggestions below, and I will see you again in about a week.